So, a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas has just been announced, and right along with it comes this huge 20-point peace plan from Donald Trump. Now, on the surface, it's being sold as the ultimate path to peace, but when you dig a little deeper, the analysis we're looking at suggests it might be a blueprint for something else, something entirely different, a new kind of control over the region. Let's break down what could really be going on here.
To really get this plan, you first have to look at this really baffling shift in global politics. All of a sudden, major European nations, we're talking Israel's oldest, most loyal allies, are recognizing Palestine and even providing naval security for aid ships to Gaza. So why the complete U-turn after decades of unwavering support? It seems to come out of absolutely nowhere, but as the analysis we're exploring suggests, this move is anything but random.
Okay, first, let's just really grasp how dramatic this European pivot actually is. I mean, the contrast here is just night and day. For ages, Europe was a solid pillar of support for Israel, often defending its military actions as simple self-defense. But now, all of a sudden in 2025, you've got countries like Spain and Italy recognizing Palestine and protecting aid convoys to Gaza. This isn't some minor policy tweak, it's a complete 180-degree reversal. And the timing? Well, the timing is everything.
Right, so this European maneuvering isn't happening in a vacuum. The analysis suggests it's all a coordinated effort to build up global support for a very, very specific vision of Palestine's future, a vision laid out in Donald Trump's new 20-point peace plan. This proposal is the key that unlocks the whole mystery.
So let's pop the hood and take a closer look at the proposal itself, because when you start to break it down, the promises you see on the surface look very different from the demands hiding underneath. The first few points are designed to be universally appealing. An immediate ceasefire, prisoner exchanges, massive humanitarian aid for Gaza. I mean, who's going to argue with that? But the source argues this is just the sweetener. The real, non-negotiable core of the deal puts the entire burden squarely on Hamas. Complete disarmament, a permanent ban from ever being in government, and the destruction of all their military infrastructure. And the plan is incredibly specific about this. Point 6 gives Hamas members a really stark choice. Surrender your weapons and get amnesty, or face permanent exile from Gaza. Period. Then point 13 makes it crystal clear. Hamas will have zero role, none, in governing what the plan actually calls New Gaza. This is not a power-sharing deal. The source argues it's a blueprint for the total political and military elimination of Hamas. In this quote right here, it gets to the very heart of the story this proposal is trying to tell. The whole framework basically validates Israel's long-held position that its military actions were purely defensive. The source argues that the plan is designed to achieve through diplomacy what years of conflict couldn't, the complete removal of Hamas, but this time it'll have the stamp of approval from an international peace agreement. Which of course brings us to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? If you completely tear down the existing power structure, what, or more importantly, who is going to replace it? Well, the proposal has a very, very detailed answer for that. And this is where the source suggests the true master plan really starts to reveal itself. It's not just about removing Hamas, it's all about what comes next. The plan calls for an interim technocratic committee. Now, the key words to pay attention to here are apolitical and guided by international experts. This committee would be made up of Palestinians, sure, but its job would be strictly administrative. Managing public services, keeping the lights on, not setting any kind of political direction. It's presented as a nice, neutral, temporary solution. But, and you knew there was a but coming, that's not the whole story. This local committee wouldn't be operating on its own. Nope, the real power, according to this proposal, would be held by an entirely new international body created just to oversee them. And here it is, the Board of Peace. The source points to this as the absolute centerpiece of the entire plan. Get this, it's chaired by Donald Trump himself, with members like former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair. Its mandate goes way beyond just reconstruction. It's tasked with creating a modern administration that's friendly to Western investment. And, this part is crucial, reforming Palestinian education and social structures to align with Western values. And if you want to get a picture of this vision, the source points to an AI-generated video that Trump himself shared. It's wild. It showed Gaza's coast totally transformed into this glittering strip of hotels, casinos, and luxury real estate. Basically, a Mediterranean playground for Western businesses. This isn't just about rebuilding, it's about completely remaking Gaza in a Western commercial image.
So the ultimate conclusion from the source is that this peace proposal is basically a Trojan horse. It's a plan to set up a secular, compliant statelet in Palestine, one that would be totally controlled both economically and politically by Western interests. It would give them this amazing strategic foothold on the Mediterranean, right next to the Suez Canal, all wrapped up in the language of peace and prosperity.
And this leaves the Palestinians at a terrifying crossroads, facing two very different and, frankly, equally dangerous potential futures. Let's be real for a second. The reality on the ground is that this plan is far from a done deal. Hamas is highly unlikely to just sign a piece of paper that agrees to its own extinction. At the same time, you've got hardliners in Israel's government who are already pushing back against releasing key Palestinian prisoners. This is why a lot of people see the current ceasefire as just a tactical pause, a chance for both sides to rearm and regroup before the next round.
And this presents just a brutal choice. Path number 1. Hamas rejects the deal. The ceasefire almost certainly collapses, and the region gets plunged right back into that devastating conflict. But path number 2. The plan somehow gets pushed through. Palestinians might get some form of peace, but at what cost? The source argues it would mean sacrificing their political autonomy and their cultural identity, effectively becoming a protectorate of Western powers.
So we're left with this fundamental question. Is this a genuine, even if it's really controversial, path to peace and prosperity? Or is it just a sophisticated plan for a new kind of occupation,